Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Friends, today I want to spend a few minutes on the words of the Buddha. We are always talking about the word of the Buddha. Today is a very special words of the Buddha. As you know, Buddha lived at a time when there were many religious teachers, popular religious teachers were living. And Buddha became very popular, famous. And many of the other religious sects began to lose their devotees, their gains, their reputation, and Buddha's reputation increased, and the devotees of the Buddha increased, and so there was a great deal of discontent, disappointment, upset among the others who were competing with the Buddha. Buddha has mentioned in many times, I am not fighting with the world. Worlds fight with me. Aham na lokena vivadami lokom maya vivadati. I have no fight, but they want to come and fight me. That was the time. This sutta that I am going to use for today's little talk is a very popular one. All of you know the sutta, you have already even studied. But it is very important for us to remember the kind of words Buddha used in this particular discourse. One of these Buddha's rivals was Niganta Nataputta. His father's name is Natha, and therefore his son is called Nataputta. Niganta is no knot. That means no kilesa knot. All the kilesas are completely destroyed. That is how he claimed. And therefore he also claimed to be so holy, so compassionate that when he walked, he and his followers used a broom made of peacock's feather. Peacock feathers were very soft. They used these peacock feathers to sweep the floor, move away insects, so that they can walk without hurting insects. And they did not drink cold water, because cold water has some tiny little living beings. Of course, they did not, people did not know that when you boil water, you kill them. But they did not want to drink cold water, I think for good health reason perhaps. But they made it to be a very holy principle, holy practice. And they did not brush teeth, because when they brush teeth, they kill germs. And they were wearing masks, perhaps because they don't want others to smell their bad smell. bad mouth. So they were wearing masks. And that also they declare to the world, because when they breathe in and out, they might kill some living beings, and therefore they don't want to keep their nose and mouth open, and to prevent them from being killed, they wear the mask. And my personal belief is that when the mouth is, when you don't brush your teeth, it must be so stinky, nobody can even get close to. So they, to protect that embarrassment, they might be wearing this. Anyway, they claim this, and they were practicing non-violence, compassion to such an extent that they claim these are the principles they observe to keep their precept in impeccable condition. But when it came to views, ideas, beliefs, they were ready to kill the Buddha. These so-called compassionate people wanted to embarrass the Buddha, insult the Buddha, probably even want to kill the Buddha. And they instigated Devadatta to kill the Buddha by the same very compassionate people. And they also got Buddha engaged in verbal debates to attack the Buddha, either in person or through their own devotees. So one day, one of their devotees called Abhay Raja Kumara. You know Abhay Raja Kumara Sutta in Majjhima Nikaya? Sutta number 58. Abhay Raja Kumara was one of Nigantanath Buddha's followers. So, one day when Abhay Raja Kumara went to see Nigantanath Buddha, and he paid him respect and sat on one side, Nigantanath Buddha said, Prince, you have a very good mission, very good job to do. If you really respect us, love us, you must do this. He asked, what is, Venerable Sir, what is it? Is there anything that I don't do for you? I do anything for you. Please tell me. Well, in that case, you go and meet this Samana Gotama. Others call the Buddha Bhavat Gotama, Gotama Buddha and so forth. Nigantha called them Samana Gotama. And you must have a debate with him, and I am pretty sure you can defeat this Samana Gotama. Samana Gotama is very powerful, very popular, very powerful, erudite speaker. He's very intelligent, very cunning, and therefore you got to prepare yourself to attack him. So he asked him, Venerable Sir, how can I prepare? Don't worry, I give you I tell you how. First you go and ask him, ask Samana Gotama, would the Tathagata utter speech that would be unwelcome and disagreeable to others? The first question. Ask him this question. Then he said, if recluse Gotama, on being asked thus, answered thus, the Tathagata Prince would utter a speech that would be unwelcome and disagreeable to others, then say to him, "Then, Venerable Sir, what is the difference between you and an ordinary person?" For an ordinary person also would utter speech that would be unwelcome and disagreeable to others. That is the first question. Then he said, but if the recluse Gautama on being asked thus answers, the Tathagata Prince would not utter speech that would be unwelcome and disagreeable to others. Then say to him, "Then, Venerable Sir, why have you declared of Devadatta? Devadatta is destined for hell. Devadatta will remain in hell for aeon. Devadatta is incorrigible. Devadatta was angry and displeased with that speech of yours." Now, when you made this speech, it hurt Devadatta. And you said, if you say that you don't speak words that is unwelcome and disagreeable to others, you have already said that. You have already done that. That is why Devadatta was upset with you. Then, when the recluse Gautama is posed this two-horned question by you, he will not be able to either to swallow it up or to gulp it down. If an iron spike was stuck in a man's throat, he would not be able to either to throw it up or to gulp it down. So too, Prince, when the recluse Gautama is posed this two-horned question by you, he will not be able to either to swallow it or to gulp it down. So, he prepared Abhay Rajakumara like this and sent to the Buddha. He wanted Abhay Rajakumara to trap the Buddha in this sort of trap. So, Prince Abhay went to see the Buddha, paid respect to him, sat down on one side. That happened to be in the afternoon. He looked up, looked at the sun, and it was a little late. Then he said he did not want to engage in a discussion with the Buddha or debate with the Buddha. He thought of inviting the Buddha to his house for next day's meal. And he invited him to his house and requested him to bring 3 more bhikkhus. So, next morning, Buddha went to his house with 3 other bhikkhus. So, Prince Abhay offered him food, and after eating, Abhay sat on a small low seat with his little child on his lap. Little boy in his lap. Sat down and asked him this question as he was coached by Nigantanatha Putta. For the first question, his first question is, Does the would the Tathagata utter a speech that would be unwelcome and disagreeable to others? This is the first question. Buddha said, there is no one-sided answer to that, Prince. As soon as Buddha said, almost spontaneously came out of his mouth, Nigantas are lost. Nigantas are perished. This was just, came out of his mouth. Then Buddha said, what? Why did you say that? Then he revealed the whole plot. He said how the Nigantas coached him, how they prepared the question, how they asked me this question and counter question and so forth to defeat you. Now Venerable said, I'm very sorry, but this is why I came here, this is why I offered this dana, not out of respect. I was not your follower. I am Niganta's follower. And in order to trap you, I brought you to my house and gave you this meal. And Buddha was so enlightened, so compassionate. Now, this is where we can see the Buddha's compassion, Buddha's wisdom. Buddha knew this plot quite well. Buddha was able to read his mind. That is why when the previous day he invited the Buddha, Buddha was very cool. He even didn't utter a word, silently accept the invitation. He knew what Abhay Rajakumar was going to ask. Buddha was so smart, so intelligent, so wise, he said, there is no one-sided answer to your question. So he was down, right there. And on the other hand, Buddha was so compassionate that he did not try to attack Nigantanataputta. If ordinary people like us, if somebody came and revealed the plot, then we would get upset and we would say everything and anything against that person to make him unpopular, saying he is so and so, so and so, so and so, all his weaknesses we would reveal. Because we would get upset. Buddha did not say one word about Nigantanataputta. Buddha simply began to teach him Dhamma. Because Buddha knew this is an innocent person. Ordinary innocent person. Very devoted person. Buddha knew he could change this mind. He could make him a real good person for his own benefit. Because if he lived with a miccha ditthi, wrong view, his future destiny would be very miserable, very unfortunate. Miccha ditthi is one of the 10 akusala karmas. It's extremely dangerous for this life, because one who is miccha ditthi always try to encourage others to become miccha ditthi. They want to increase the number. They go around the world trying to convert them to his miccha ditthi. And thereby, not only he will suffer in future, but he will cause many more millions of other people to suffer. So Buddha knew this, and therefore he wanted to change his mind, make him understand the Dhamma. And therefore he completely ignored Nigantanataputta. Didn't say one word, because he knew Nigandanatha Buddha says, incorrigible. You cannot correct him. You cannot make him a Sammaditthi person. Then, answering this question, Buddha asked a counter question. Buddha said, what do you think, Prince, if while you or your nurse were not attending to him, this little child were to put a stick or pebble in his mouth, what would you do to him? If the little child put something, pebble or stick in his mouth, as normally children do, crawling children, whatever they find they put in his mouth. If this child does that, what would you do? He said, Venerable Sir, I would take it out. I would take it out. If I could not take it out at once, I would take his head in my left hand and with crooking a finger of my right hand, I would take it out, even if it means drawing blood. Why is that? Because I have compassion for the child. See the way how Buddha approached his Dhamma, taught him Dhamma, using the child sitting in his lap as an example. So he knows ignorant people are like like this little child. They don't know what they do. Out of compassion for them, sometimes even the Buddha has to use words unwelcome, disagreeable to others. But he clarified this. Buddha gave 6 classes of speech. In these 6 classes of speech, 4 classes of speech he did not use at all. And 2 classes of speech he knew when to use. Even though those 2 classes are wholesome, wonderful, meaningful, even those words belonging to those 2 classes, he would not utter hastily, abruptly. He would find time, suitable time to utter those words. I say it in English rather than I have Pali, but I don't want to do that. The first kind is the words are untrue, atachang, abhutang, they are not correct, not true, anatta sanghitang, unbeneficial, apya, unwelcome, unpleasant, amanapa, unwelcome. These words Buddha would never utter, because all the 5 qualities there are negative. What are the 5 qualities? Untrue, incorrect. What is the difference between untrue and incorrect? Untrue is if somebody asks you, have you seen such and such? Having not seen, you say, I saw it. That is untrue. Having heard something, if somebody asks you, have you heard it? You said, I did not hear. That is untrue. What is incorrect? Somebody asks you, is this black or white? Everybody says that it is either white or black. Suppose something is white. And you say, it is black. It is incorrect. Because both you can see. So, if the words are like that, and they are unpleasant, not welcome by others, Buddha would never utter them. Second is, the words are true, correct, but not beneficial, and also unpleasant and not welcome. Buddha would never utter them. Third kind is something is true, correct, beneficial, and but unpleasant and not welcome. This kind of words Buddha utter when time comes. All the first three qualities are wholesome. What are the first 3 qualities? They are true, correct, and beneficial. Last 2 qualities are not good. What are the last 2 qualities? Unwelcome and disagreeable. These are the words Buddha uttered in Devadatta's case. They are true, correct, beneficial, but Devadatta would not like it. It was not acceptable to him. Fourth kind of words is again untrue, incorrect, unbeneficial, but they are welcome and agreeable to somebody. See, the first 3 qualities are all negative, the last 2 qualities are positive, and Buddha would never utter them. Because more important are the first 3 qualities. They have to be true, correct, and beneficial. Last 2 qualities, they are emotional qualities. Buddha would disregard the emotional qualities. Because it is beneficial, it is true, it is correct. And those words Buddha uttered. But if it is not true, incorrect, not beneficial, even though they are pleasant to hear, Buddha would not utter. And the fifth quality, fifth class is something is true, correct, unbeneficial, and then again it is pleasant and welcome, Buddha would not utter. The last one is that something is true, correct, beneficial, pleasant, welcome, agreeable to others, Buddha would speak. And yet he would wait for the right time. Kalanyu hoti. Tathagato acaya. Kalanyu hoti. Then Abhay Kumara was so astonished. He was so amazed. You know, now we can look at the book, look at the paper to refresh our memory. Buddha, nobody taught him. Nobody taught him these things. Just see the way logically he arranged all these classes of speech, arranged, and without missing one, very clearly, precisely, he explained. Seeing the way, just like, making beads of rosary, with beads, he connected each and every one of them very precisely and clearly. Seeing this, Bodhiraja Kumara was so pleased with the Buddha. He asked another question on his own. He asked, Venerable Sir, you meet very great learned Brahmins, great learned Sakyans, millionaires, merchants, samanas, all are very great learned person, wise people, intelligent people. They ask you a question. Do you prepare in advance to answer these questions? Then Buddha asked him back another question. Prince, you are a prince. You know your chariot, talking in modern terms, you know your vehicle. Suppose you know your engine, everything of your engine. Everything. Somebody comes and asks you a question about certain part. Have you prepared for it in advance? Thinking that if so and so asks me such and such a question about the engine, I will answer it in such and such a way. No. He said, no, Venerable Sir. I know my engine, my vehicle so well. Anybody can ask me any question without giving any notice, spontaneously. I can give him the answer. Because I know my vehicle. Buddha said, Prince, similarly, I don't have to prepare for anything. When somebody asks me a question, I know what kind of answer I must give to that question without any preparation. Because I know my subject. When I know my subject, I don't have to prepare in advance. I can give answer in advance. So, what did Buddha teach using this technique all his life? These two classes of words he uttered to explain Dhamma. One is something true, correct, beneficial, though it may be unwelcome, disagreeable. And the other is something true, correct, beneficial, welcome and agreeable to others. Both intellectual side, emotional sides are perfectly correct, perfect. So, He taught the Four Noble Truths, sometimes directly, sometimes indirectly. He taught dependent origination, sometimes directly, sometimes indirectly. He taught, we just finished reading one sutta, Anatta Lakkana Sutta. This was the thing that Buddha knew whenever he taught this selflessness, soullessness discourse. Sometimes he knew the listeners would not be happy. They would not welcome it. But it is true, correct, beneficial to them. Like Vacchagotta, when first time when Vacchagotta asked this question, Buddha did not utter even one word. Whenever Ananda was concerned, when Vacchagotta left, Ananda came and asked the Buddha, Venerable Sir, why didn't you answer this question? Because Buddha knew Vacchagotta was not ready. And he said, if I answered him this question in one way or the other, question about soul or self, one way or the other, this man would get more confused. So Buddha waited and waited until Vacchagotta's wisdom matured, intelligence matured. At another occasion, on another occasion, when Vacchagotta came, Buddha gave a discourse on selflessness. So this is why Buddha said, if something is right, true, correct, beneficial, I know the time to speak. Although it is true, correct, beneficial, he did not at once, as soon as the person asked the question, he did not tell the person the answer right away. He waited for the person to grow, mature. And then later on, when the mind is ready, he taught. This is why he said, I wait. I know the time. On some other occasions, he straight away said, when 5 bhikkhus, whom he taught the first sermon, he knew these 5 bhikkhus so well, because they were his companions during his struggle to attain enlightenment. And now Buddha came and convinced them that he was enlightened, and then gave the first sermon, and repeatedly, because 2 of them, while Buddha was teaching first sermon, 2 of them went out, collected food, alms food for all of them. While Buddha was teaching, he did not want to interrupt his teaching. Next day, 3 of these bhikkhus went out to collect food while Buddha was teaching Dhamma Cakkappavattana Sutta, explaining to other remaining 2. Those 3 brought enough food for all the 6. So he went on coaching, explaining, preparing their mind for 3 months, teaching Dhamma Cakkappavattana Sutta repeatedly again and again and again to these 5 bhikkhus. And one of them had already attained stream entry on the very first time, at the very first time Buddha delivered the sermon. Now they are all ready to hear about selflessness, Anatta Lakkana. Then when the time came, he delivered it. So, all his life, he was like that. Well controlled, well disciplined, well planned, well composed, with impeccable sati, Sampajanya, Buddha spoke. And therefore, he spoke of Four Noble Truths, Noble Eightfold Path, Dependent Origination, all 37 factors of enlightenment. He taught even karma, rebirth, at an appropriate time. In every sermon he did not speak about karma and rebirth. Every sermon he did not speak about Four Noble Truths, although it is implied. Every sermon he did not speak about dependent origination. And when the time came, suitable time came, he delivered the sermon. In the same truth, he delivered in many, many, many different ways to meet the need of the listeners. And that is why he said, I know the time to tell what is true, correct, beneficial, even sometimes it is not welcome, disagreeable. Even those things I would utter at the right time. And more so when other factors are complete, when something true, correct, beneficial, welcome, agreeable to listeners, Buddha did not hesitate and yet waited for the right time. So that is what I like to talk about tonight, and I think this may be enough for our short Dhamma talk, and I am very happy to talk about this subject in this way, because this is exactly what we are doing, what we want to do. Thank you very much for your patient listening.